doing an easy dip pink and white fill. This is the dark pink and white. It also comes in a light pink and white as well. And I have had these on for 4 weeks. I use tips to begin with because my nails are very flexible and thin. The tips actually give me a lot more time with the easy dip, and especially like 3-4 weeks range. So if you have flexible thin nails, you might benefit from tips as well. But I've had these on for 4 weeks. At the 2-week mark, I wanted to do a fill, but I honestly didn't see, like, you really couldn't tell that I needed to do one. They still looked really great. Now my cuticles are kind of, you know, and I need to do those. So I'm gonna do that first before we get into the fill. And here are the 2 products that I always use to trim my cuticles. It's the Blue Cross Cuticle Remover and the Cuticle Trimmers. It's super easy to use, and here's what they look like afterwards. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just buff off the top gloss coat. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use the curved banana file. It's a really rough file, and you wanna go ahead and keep filing the nail area where the outgrowth is until it kind of disappears. You want it to be completely like no line or anything like that, because if you have a line there and you do the little fill, you'll see that line during your fill. And so you just keep filing. It takes a little bit of time, but make sure you do it until it's completely gone. You can go back and buff again, file again, just keep going until it's completely smooth and you don't see the line. Okay, so after you've finished all the nails, then your nails are prepped and ready. I like to use a little hand sanitizer first, obviously, before I put my fingernails in the powder jar. I'm gonna go ahead and use structure, and this part is very tricky, but you guys know structure has to go on very thin. You don't want it to be dripping or big, you know, kind of globs dropping on your nail. So just very thin coat, just right at the top area, a little bit, you know, down on where the seam used to be. So you'll do that with all of your nails. You'll apply a little structure, and then you'll dip in the pink powder, tap your finger to get the remaining powder off. And when you're finished with that, you go back and do it all over again. So it's gonna feel a little weird or seem a little weird because it's a little bit like bulgy, the one coat you did right before. Even if you did a thin coat, you'll see it. So you're just gonna be putting the same amount of structure you did the first time, and then dipping, tapping off the extra, and just making sure to try to do as thin coats as you possibly can. Then you're going to use promoter and apply generously to your entire nail. And then I would recommend waiting 5 to 10 minutes. Because you have those 2 coats in a concentrated area, you want to make sure it's thoroughly dry before you start filing. And then I'm going to gently buff and make sure that it's dry, and it looks like it is. I'm going to grab my curved banana file again and really start filing that seam area and make sure that it's completely smooth. Obviously you're filing the top area too to make sure it's just as flat as the rest of your nails, everything is even, and it just takes a little bit of time, but you'll start to see the more you do it, the seam starts to disappear and just kind of become one with the rest of your nail that was there before. And you'll notice I didn't recommend step 1, the foundation, that is sold separately for this fill, because I don't know if you necessarily need it unless you have really oily nails. If you experience a lot of lifting early and things like that, then it would be a good extra dehydrator. But that's why I didn't choose to use it for this. I don't experience that, so if you do, it's a good choice. Okay, so after you finished all nails, go ahead and wash your hands, dry them thoroughly, and then add promoter to all of your nails one more time. And then you're gonna go ahead and do 2 coats of gloss coat. So I like to do 1 thin coat of gloss coat on all nails and then go right back and do another thin coat of gloss coat on all the nails. And let them dry for 3 minutes and you are finished. So here's how they will look. There will be instructions at the end of this video, but let's say you wanted to increase the white part too. So you're gonna do everything we just did. You're just going to skip the last promoter step and the 2 gloss coats, and you're gonna apply structure to 3/4 of the nail. And then you're going to dip in the white powder, creating a new line a little bit further up than your previous line, and you're gonna dip it twice. So I pulled it out, I'm just gonna put it right back in just to kind of reinforce that white, that new area. And then I'm gonna go ahead and apply structure to the entire nail. I'm gonna re-dip on the new white line that I just, up to the new white area that I just made. And then I'm gonna dip my whole nail into the pink powder. After that, I'm gonna apply promoter and let dry about 3 minutes. Then I'm going to lightly buff and make sure it's dry, and once I know that it's dry, I can go ahead and use the 180 grit file again. You want to use this file to really smooth down the entire nail surface, make sure the top area by the cuticle is smooth and even, and the sides and the end of the nail are all the way that you would like them as far as shape goes. And then it's best to wash your hands, even though I didn't. I just am doing this nail very fast to show you guys. But you want to add promoter when your nails are dry, and then add 2 coats of gloss coat, and let that dry for 3 minutes, and then you are finished. And I'm going to include both sets of instructions, one for the normal pink and white fill and one for if you want to increase the white area as well. It for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are having a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.